It's Anna, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my June wrap up. I'm not going to go into too much detail, hopefully, about most of these books because my videos are just way too long and my voice is doing something really weird. It's kind of dropping out and being a bit croaky. It's annoying because I only just got over a cold. Yep. So, yeah, I will leave links up here or in the description box below to the full videos of, like, my reviews, if you're interested. Which hopefully you are. So, to start with this month, I read The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I was like, damn, this is a book I wish I had written. Okay, not quite. There are a couple bits I wouldn't have written. That's beside the point. It's about a young woman called Nadi. She's a con woman on the streets of Cairo, and she doesn't believe in magic despite having clearly magical abilities. Until she accidentally summons a jinn warrior, and yeah, he takes her to the city of Dayevbad, or the city of Brass, where she finds out more about her heritage. So, yeah, it's all action. There's lots of action. What I really liked about this book was the plot. What I really liked about this book were the two main characters. Like, they were the best. Nari's this, like, kind of no bullshit con woman who's sort of always going, okay, what can I get out of this particular interaction? So yeah, she is not one of those, like, pushover heroines, which I really like. The other character, main character, whose point of view we follow, is Ali, and he is a prince. His father is the ruler of Dayevbad and all of the jinn. And he's this great mix of, like, kick-ass warrior, super intelligent scholar, bit of a religious zealot, which I'm not too, like, crazy about, but he believes in doing the right thing, which I really like. It's nice to have that. I'm all about that. I just really enjoyed it. It was fabulous. I had one sort of main issue, and that was some of the, like, backstory, I guess, like, revolving around the Daeva and Jinn, the Shafit, etc. It was a bit unclear for most of the story for me, so I was a bit like, I don't really know what's happening. Which, yeah, I think the author revealed everything when they, like, when she, I think it was she felt that she needed to, but I was sort of going, I need, like, a primer on this, guys. And yeah, I'll talk a bit more about that in my book review, like, video. That being said, it had action, it had a tiny bit of romance, but it wasn't in your face, which was fabulous. So, yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it. Just go and read it. I can't promise you won't be disappointed because there were a few bits that I didn't like, but everything else that I did like was so amazing that I could ignore little bits. So I was like, yeah. The next book I read in June was An Ember in the Ashes. Oh my god. I actually have a real copy of this. Why am I not using that? So, the next book I read in June was An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. Oh, I love this book. It's a YA fantasy dystopia, and it's about a girl called Leia, whose brother is arrested for treason. So she joins the resistance in order to get him broken out of prison, basically. And her task is to spy on the commandant of Blackcliff Academy. Blackcliff is where they train their elite soldiers of the Martial Empire. Leia is a scholar, like the subjugated people, if you will. Our other main character is Elias, and he's basically top of his class. And he's about to graduate from Blackcliff. Except he hates it, and he's planning to desert. And yeah, fate sort of steps in and prevents him from doing that. Or as I like to call them, the red-eyed bastards. But, sorry, that's an insider thing, you'll get it once you start reading the book. He basically ends up in a competition that they call the Trials, which is to pick the new Emperor and the new second in command. And Elias is one of them. So, lots happening here. It's just, the plot was amazing. There was a lot of action and intricate sort of subplots happening as well. It was amazing. I loved the characters. They were all three-dimensional and complex, and like even the ones that I hated, all of them got moments of humanity. So they weren't, you know, your sort of two-dimensional bad guys. None of that happened, which was also great. The writing was so easy to read. Like, I just powered through this, honestly. And the world building was really well done. Like, it was fairly minimal, but it sort of unfolded throughout the book. Like, you didn't get like info dumping or anything like that. It was amazing. And yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I'm looking forward to reading the next one. So the next book I read was The Queen of Afluria by Effie Calvin. It's a fairly short book. It's meant to be like a YA fantasy LGBT book. It's about a princess called Sophie. She is travelling to Afluria to marry her betrothed, but unfortunately the crown prince has died, like, while she was on this journey there. So she gets there, and instead of getting married, she's offering her condolences. But she's travelled all this way, and like the whole point of the betrothal was basically that Sophie was bringing a whole bunch of battle mages who can help Afluria with their dragon problem. So she offers to marry the next in line for the throne, who is Crown Princess Adal. And Crown Princess Adal is not really interested in the throne or anything else beside hunting and drinking and hanging out with her, like, nobody friends. Well, not nobody, but hanging out with her, like, second and third son and daughter friends. Like, they don't have any prospects. They're not expected to marry well or anything else, so they just hang around wasting their parents' money. Yeah. So, it wasn't a terrible book. I really quite liked Sophie. She is actually quite kick-ass and intelligent, and you know, she's got some problems with self-esteem, a little bit, but mostly she's pretty good. She's a little bit chubby, and she deeply believes in the gods and goddesses. So she's this total opposite to Crown Princess Adele. Anyway, there's romance, there's dragons, there's magic. It's all sort of happening. So yeah, it's a pretty good book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Next I read, well not next, I read other things before it, but whatever. Gone Viral by Frank Bowden. It's basically about infectious diseases. Frank Bowden's a specialist in infectious diseases here in Australia, so it's kind of nice to read about places and stuff that I recognise. But yeah, each chapter he talks about a different disease, and he brings in sort of his own personal anecdotes regarding the disease and other issues in the healthcare system. He talks about things like workplace culture, like he was treating people in like the 80s when, you know, the AIDS epidemic was sort of happening, and you know, you got a lot of negative, prejudicial sort of language coming from the doctors themselves. They talk about homeless people, basically calling them like toilets or something, like, I can't remember the exact dunny. They call them dunnies, which is, I don't know if anyone else calls them dunnies, but Australians call toilets dunnies. So, not very nice. He talks about other things related to like Aboriginal, Indigenous healthcare and the inequalities, I guess, between the Indigenous population and the non-Indigenous population. Yeah, it's, some of it hits pretty close to home. So, yeah. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was a decent book. There are a lot of interesting things in it, especially from an Australian perspective, looking at the Australian healthcare medical system. Next up, I also read Bono by Helen Brown. It's the amazing story of a rescue cat who inspired a community. Now, it was an ARC I received from NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. It actually came out at the end of May, so it's available if anyone wants to read it. It's a non-fiction memoir. I didn't hate this book. I really didn't. I actually really liked it. Well, not really. I liked it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And I did that because Helen Brown is sort of this self-deprecating, humorous woman who is just so candid about her life, and I really sort of connected with that. I enjoyed reading it, but I didn't actually think it was really about Bono the cat at all. It's meant to be about a rescue cat that she fostered while she was living in New York on a working holiday for like a month or so. And that's all well and good, but it's not really about Bono, so I don't really get the title. I don't understand what community he inspired. What community? A couple people she talked to in New York? No. Or the millions of people around the world that sent, you know, stupid messages that have absolutely no meaning, because she's trying to get this cat adopted, like a forever home, and all these people are like, he's so cute, oh I really like him, oh I'll take him, but I happen to be on the opposite side of the world in Germany. All these stupid things. I don't get how they were inspired. They did nothing. None of them actually helped this cat in this so-called community, so that pissed me off. It also pissed me off that Bono had kidney disease. I have a cat with kidney disease, and you have to feed him a special diet. You have to make sure, you know, that, you know, when it gets into the later stages like Bono, they actually need medication, and, you know, sometimes up to 2 or 3 times a day. My cat has to have medication, but for a different reason, and she's meant to have that 2 to 3 times a day, and it's a lot of work. And I'm like, why would you adopt, or foster, sorry, why would you foster a rescue cat with illnesses if you don't have the time to put into him, and you're just going to leave him in a tiny little cupboard of an apartment while you gallivant around New York talking about the fucking architecture? It really made me mad. It made me so mad, because it's basically a publicity stunt. Her publicists were like, and editors and stuff in New York were like, you should foster a cat while you're here. And she didn't want to do it, so she spends the first half of the book saying, oh, I have no relationship with this cat, he hates me, I don't want to foster this cat, and trying to get out of it. And her daughter sort of makes her do it, and, you know, her daughter comes with her initially, and Helen Brown's going to take the cat back as soon as the daughter leaves, but the daughter's like, you have to promise me you'll look after it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it just, that part of it made me so mad. I was like, you guys aren't there to help this cat, this wonderful, beautiful cat, who has this gorgeous personality. You guys are just there, oh look, let's foster a cat, publicity stunt, everybody can talk about him and try to look at him and poke him and prod him, and it made me very angry as a cat lover. It made me so angry. So if I ignore the fact that, you know, this book is apparently about a cat, and just take it as a travel memoir, you know, that was sort of prompted by a post-breast cancer midlife crisis, you know, wherein she ends up having a cat foisted upon her. If I just take it as like a travel memoir, in that sort of vein, it's a really good book. It's fabulous. I laughed. I really connected with Helen Brown and her experience. Didn't hurt that she's Australian. And I'm like, yes. Well, okay, she's a Kiwi, but she lives in Australia, so she's kind of both. And my best friend is also a Kiwi who lives in Australia. So I'm like, yeah. So, yeah, if I ignore that part of it, it's a great book. But if I have to think about poor Bono himself, who did get a forever home and then was very, very happy, then it makes me really mad. I'm like, you don't deserve to have a cat. Like, I don't care how many books you've written about cats. They're not really about cats, they're about you. So, the cat just happens to be in the background. So, yeah, depending on the way you go into this book, you might really love it. Or if you are very passionate about animal welfare, or have the experience of having to look after a sick cat, it'll make you very mad. Oh, let's go shopping all day and leave the poor cat in a tiny little apartment or locked in a fucking cupboard. Yeah. Sorry for my honest review, NetGalley, but you asked. Right. The next book I don't actually have a cover for, and I don't have the editing software to do a cover for it because my phone is shit. It's called Teen Trailblazers by Jennifer Calvert. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's like a non-fiction book with biographies about young women who made a significant impact on society before the age of 20. They include people like Pocahontas, Malala, the girl who sort of stood up for like women's education and was shot by the Taliban. Lots of variation. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I couldn't actually read all of it because there were some technical problems, but I read about half of it. And I would definitely say it's probably for a younger teen audience rather than an older teen audience, but it was still very good, and yeah, that's that. So, for my final book, which I only finished yesterday, let me find it. Awesome, it's going to be a bitch and not give me a cover, but the final book I read this month was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It has a pretty cover in my little icons, but apparently not when you do this. Arsehole. Wow. I loved this book. It's a fantasy, historical fiction kind of thing. It's an adult novel. That being said, I don't think young adults can't read it. Honestly, I've read a lot, I've read things that are a lot more hard-hitting in YA than in this book, so I think that pretty much anyone over the age of 15 could definitely enjoy it, maybe even younger, I don't know. I don't remember really what it's like to be younger than 15 at this point. My memory's so bad. So, The Night Circus is about a circus. It appears randomly with no warning, and it's all black and white and awesome, and it only opens at night, so from dawn until dusk, basically. Dusk until dawn, even. Got there eventually. So, basically, it's the stage for a competition between two magicians called Celia and Marco. And there's no real rules, per se, and they're really kind of both unclear on how the winner is determined throughout the entire book. I loved the characters in this. It was told from multiple points of view. I mean, primarily we follow Marco, Celia, and the creator of the circus, Chandresh. But we also follow a whole bunch of other circus performers. Oh, and Bailey, whose role is kind of obscure right from the beginning. You've got no idea. And it kind of jumps between the past and, well, not the present, but it kind of jumps over a period of about 20 years or something, maybe a bit less. It's from the 1880s to early 1900s-ish. Anyway, it jumps a bit, and yeah, you're following a few perspectives, primarily, and there are other ones, other circus performers, other people who helped create the circus, and the descriptions are so amazing. It's this lush, gorgeous, world that's been built, and it really is about the world. The plot is still amazing, and the characters are awesome, but it's this, it's more of an experience, I guess, is the only way I can put it. And it's written in present tense, so you sort of feel like you're there. I hate present tense normally, I really just, it irks me, but this was beautifully done. After the first couple of chapters, I was like, okay, I'm used to it now. I'm over it. Let's continue. So, I don't know. I didn't know if I would like it. I've been putting it off for years. I kind of went, it's about a circus. Some of the descriptions and synopsis, blurbs, whatever you want to call them, give you no information. They're the circus appears without warning, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, but what's the story? So yeah, put it off for years, and like within the first couple chapters, I was sort of going, yeah, this is going to be a 5-star read, unless if they really, really mess up the ending. But it was beautiful. It was so well done. I love it. Like, if I could give it 6 out of 5 stars, I would, but that's illogical, so I can't. But I would. Anyway, I think. Anyway, so that was my June wrap-up. I read 7 books total. I had 3 5-star reads, which is pretty decent. And the rest were all 3-star reads. So, pretty good month, honestly. I'm hoping July is going to be also very good. So, I have a TBR video that hopefully will be up soon. And I hopefully will have my like individual book reviews for some of these books. I've just been putting them off because I've been sick. So, I'll try to card them up the top, and yeah, look out for them. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe below. If you want notifications for future videos, click the little bell. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you again. Bye.